So I've got this tray I've been using for my leatherworking and all the hand stitching tools I use. So I pricking iron, some needles, thread, some marking gauges. I've just been throwing it on this tray and I thought, you know, I should make a nice little cherry one. So I got these bits of cherry, just grabbed it from the scrap pile. So I'm gonna make a little tray to hold all these tools. So the idea with this is that the pricking irons came in these little foam pads. So I've cut those down to size. This is all to scale. And they'll just slot right in using this thin little basswood. So in between each one, do these little slots. I'll go in. Have this larger compartment on here, or put the tools, and if I get some more irons, I'll have the slots for them. The two pieces of cherry that are going to form the frame. This piece will get cut down, that's going to be the base. Let's get going. Pieces, final dimension is going to be 13 inches. Cut these to 13 and a half. This is going to be 7 inches, so that's 7 and a half. So then it's just the same process for the two long pieces. Reference face, reference edge. Then I'll move to the final dimensions next. So then I'm going to move to my first edge. Just backing the iron off to get a finer shading. Until it's nice and smooth. I'm just going to check for square, hold it up to the light. Slightly out on the right hand side, right along here. So take a few passes just on the right. And then down the middle to make sure it's all nice and flat. Check it again. So that's one or two passes too many on the right. Now I'm high on the opposite side. So I'll just skew the plane to the left. Just using my fingers as a stop here. My thumb centered. That felt like that was too many, but we'll see. Hang on. So there you go. That's a face and an edge dimensioned in real time. So reference face and reference edge are done on these 4 pieces. I'm going to move on to the second edge, which is about 7/8 final dimension. So here's a case where we got 3/8 of an inch of material to remove. This one's only got about 1/8. I'm going to hand plane off the 1/8 of an inch. I'm gonna saw down this 3/8 to as close to the line as I can get. Usually if it's a 1/4 inch or less, I'll probably just plane it off. If it's more than that, I'm gonna saw it off. Okay, so I've got my knife line. What I'm looking for is to see how much material I have to remove on this end versus this end. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it's fairly even straight across. It's actually a little bit higher over here than it is down here. So then on the other side, it's the same thing. It's a little bit higher on this end than it is down here. So I'm going to start by taking a few passes on this first few inches to try to get this amount equal to this amount. That way I can take one shaving straight across, bring this whole surface down to that knife edge. If this is a wider piece, I'd also check along the edge in case it was going up or had a slant on it. Okay, that's pretty even. So now I can start with full length passes and bring this down. I'm starting with a bit of like a medium shaving, not too heavy. This is cherry. If this is pine, I'd probably take twice of this shaving. You get this down pretty quick. But hardwood, if this is walnut or oak, it's always better to have a lighter cut than a heavier cut. So I'm checking both sides to make sure I'm bringing the surface down evenly. If I notice I was heavy on one side, I would check my iron because it could be skewed to one side or the other. See this? No, you can't really see it. I'm getting pretty close to the edge on this corner. It's pretty even. Still a little bit of material on this side. So I'm going to dial that shaving back and just slowly creep up to that line. So looking for a feather edge. That's what you're looking for. So So then I'm just going to take a few shavings until this just flakes away. I think I just saw it pop off. Alright. So now I'm just going to check it for square. I shouldn't have to if I fit my knife lines. They should be square, but I always like to check just to make sure. See, it's actually still slightly, I can't see it, but I'm holding this up to the light. I can just see a tiny bit of light coming through. That's the type of shaving I'm taking, like, you know, it's barely anything. But it's enough. So there we go. Just give me one more shave in, and then that'll be that. Okay, so all the pieces are dimensioned. I got the end grain all trimmed up. It's ready to go. Everything's to length. So I have my builder's triangles marked on each piece, so I know these are in the proper orientation. So when I go to assemble this, it'll make it easier. So those are my two sides. Those are my two long pieces. Now the tails are going to go on the two long pieces. So I got my depth marked. All the pieces are the same. So my tails, or my tails, this is my tails. My tails are the long pieces. So they're going to get marked. All the way around on all four sides. And now my pins get marked on the faces only. So now, let's lay out some dovetails. Okay, so these pieces are pretty narrow. Again, we're only talking 7/8 of an inch wide. So I'm going to be doing one tail per, I'm going to do one tail each. And I'm going to have a shoulder of 3/16. So put my two pieces together just to make layout a bit easier. I'm going to cut these separately, but I'll lay them out together. Take my 1 7 and bring that down. Bring that mark down to my baseline. I'll do the same on this side. Mark the waist so you don't cut the wrong bit. So there we go. So now what I'm going to do, so you can make this even a little bit more consistent, is just flip this one end for end. and transfer these marks across to the other side. Okay, so I got the camera between me and the workpiece, so it's a little bit awkward, but this is going to get you a pretty good look of what I'm seeing. So just putting the saw just to the right side of the line. Trying to match that angle as best I can. Get that curve started. And then it's just straight down. Once you start sawing, you got to match that angle because you can't correct it. You can't really start straight. Get that curve established and then turn it. You may be able to, but it's best if you're doing this all manually, just to aim for that. Again, I don't know if you can see this on the camera. I am about a 32nd or so off of my line. Doesn't really matter. I'm not going to pair that. Hopefully, assuming that's nice and assuming this cut is nice and square to the face, I won't be touching that with the chisel at all. Do the other side. Same thing. Just now, yeah. So now, just try to eyeball that line, staying just off of that line. So you can see this. You can see that on the camera. I've missed that angle. So I was off by maybe a 32nd up here and I've hit my line. So technically the angle on this side of the pin is different from this side of the pin. No one is ever going to see that. Now cut off the shoulders. I'm going to pare that down right to the knife line. So I've just stayed off it by, again, about a 32nd of an inch. And here we go. Tail cut. So now I'm just going to pair up those shoulders. Should be good to go. Okay, tails are done. Marked out the pins. So now I'm just going to go in straight to my line. Not leaving any room. If you can see that. It's right on the line. Then I'm going to go down the face first. Connecting corner to corner. And then I come down on the back side. gets me right on the line on all 3 sides. Same thing on this side. Remove the middle waste with a coping saw. Now chop out the rest. So starting on the inside, chop halfway, chopping right over the leg to get no bounce back. If I were to chop in the middle of the bench, then you'd feel that force kind of bounce back on you. Just get that corner. And flip over to my show face. Just do one. Yeah, those fibers bust right away there. Just light little taps. You don't need to hit this stuff hard. Sharp tools, they'll do the work for you. You go right into my knife line. And just straight down. And just clear out the waste. Just cleaning up the corners. Let's see. Okay, and goes together. There we go. And we got these other sides here, which all seem to go together fairly well. And then these sides, one more to do, and then that'll be it for the main frame.